So to get this series started, we're going to actually talk about what is a scrapbook page, what is a scrapbook layout, what is scrapbooking. So scrapbooking is the idea of taking your photos and your memories and putting them together in an artful way. And that artful way can be as complex or as simple as you would like it to be. In the beginning, we're going to be talking about more simple ideas, and then we're going to build up over time as this series goes along. So this is kind of as simple as you can get. It's more like a photo book style where you just have your pictures, and then instead of just being a photo album or a photo book, we've added some memory keeping elements to that. So I at least have the date on there, and I try to talk about the 5 W's that we learn in school: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And I don't always cover all 5 of those, but I try to get close to those. So this is a very simple style. As we move up in this series, we're going to talk about making things more artistic, and this can be very satisfying to play with pretty bits and pieces and turn your photos into more of art. So when you think about scrapbooking, you want to think about the elements involved in a scrapbook page. And I think about that in terms of, if I were to look at a book on a shelf, the book is going to have a title, some kind of graphic, and then when you open the book up, the story is there. So that's the same pieces we're going to put together into a scrapbook layout, the same elements that are in an actual book. So we've got a title, we've got some graphics, and that extends into the artful element of the layout, and then we've got the story. So those are the pieces we're looking for. So here's our first $20 kit. I went to Tuesday Morning, and I don't know a lot about Tuesday Morning, so this is something more new to me. It's a discount market that buys overstock, overrun items and then sells them at a discount. So because they're overstock and overrun, they're pretty up to date in terms of design and elements and things like that. So you can see that I took my receipt and I took my $20, and I ended up spending $18.95, and then with the tax of $1.59, I ended up with $20.54. So if you watch my intro to this series, you'll know that my goal is to spend $20 on product and not worry about the tax being included. This time it happened to be pretty close, so that's all right. So what did I get for this first kit? So if you're very new to scrapbooking, you're going to need to start with some foundations. And one of the basic foundations is cardstock. So this is a thick paper that is sturdy enough to hold up to the weight of adding stuff on top of it. Cardstock is cheaper than, say, pretty designed papers, so you can get more for your money. If you start off with a pack like this that comes in a variety of colors, you'll have lots of options as you go. And these packs can come in various shades of colors. So when I was at Tuesday Morning, they had packs that were more focused on green and other colors. So find colors that you like in a stack like this. That'll give you, this has 60 pieces in it. That'll give you a lot to work with as we go through this series. And then I like to add something that's pretty. So some lovely designs and textures of colors and patterns of paper that you like to work with. I picked these for myself because it's stuff that I don't already have, but go ahead and feel free to pick a pack that you like. And at Tuesday Morning, they had plenty of options of cardstock, and they had plenty of options of stacks of paper. So you can find something that you like. And then I picked a tool. Tools are going to last you a long time, and at Tuesday Morning, they're very affordable. A tool like this in a regular store could be $20, but I got it for $5. So I chose a tool that has a very general shape to it, something that can be used over and over again. They had things there like birthday cupcakes, and that would not be something I would have picked because it's not flexible in terms of being used over and over again. So I'm going to show you what we can do with this shape. And if you choose not to buy a tool or a punch, I can also show you how to do this by hand. So it takes more time, and it's always a balance of time versus money. So I chose a tool, and as we're working throughout this series, we're going to build up our tools, we're going to build up our paper supplies, we're going to build up our embellishment supplies. So what are embellishments? Embellishments are usually the little stickers and pieces that you add to a layout that is not the paper itself, usually. So when I was looking at embellishments, I wanted to pick some things with some nice texture to them. That adds a layer to your art, that adds some depth to your projects. So I just looked around the store and I picked some wood items because I really like these. And if you go back and look at the intro to this series, you'll know that you'll need some wet glue to glue these down. Some just liquid white glue is fine for this. And then I added some, these are called epoxy stickers, and so they have a little bit, I don't know how much the camera's going to pick it up, they have a little bit of a textural dimension to them. They're a plastic item. They have sticky on the back, so they will be self-adhesive. And these things will add some elements to your projects. So that's it for the supply video. Join me again later in the month, and I will have a video for you that shows you what I did with just these supplies and the basic set of tools. The basic set of tools I explained in the intro to this series, so if you don't know what those are, go ahead and go look at my intro. There's a playlist on the YouTube site, and you can check out the intro, make sure you know what you're getting into, and make sure you have the tools on hand as we go through this series. I'd like to talk very briefly about sizes of scrapbook layouts. You saw in the examples of pages I showed you, those are 12 by 12, and that is the most common size of product that's available on the market and often what many scrapbookers use. Because there are different sizes of product available, I'm going to stick with what I use most to make this series fair to me. And if you go back to my playlist for this series and watch that very first introduction video, you'll see what I talk about when I'm talking about fair to me. I also want this series to be fair to you, so if you choose not to use this size, there are other options, and I will talk about them as we go. And again, if you watch my intro to this series, you'll hear a little bit more about what I mean by that. So these are the most common product sizes that you'll find out there. There's 12 by 12, which I'm going to focus on the most because 12 by 12 can always be made smaller if you choose to do a smaller format. The other most common size is 6 by 6. Now you can always buy pattern papers in a larger size and get a kit of pattern paper, but if you go with a smaller size, you're going to get more variety for a smaller cost. And we'll talk about adapting small pieces of paper onto a larger design as we go through this series. Here's a quick word on storing these supplies. So I just have a bookshelf here, and if you tuck your cardstock up against another book or the edge of the bookshelf and you have a small bin of some sort, doesn't have to be anything fancy, then you can put your other products in there. If you do have a punch, the weight of the punch will actually act as a bookend to help keep your paper upright. And then I'm just going to be using a Ziploc bag to store the little bits and pieces so that they don't get stuck to other things or get lost or go missing. So that's pretty simple storage for all of these items.